Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video, another tech tree. Let's go. Thank you all the members, all the patrons. Make sure to subscribe and let's just start it. So yeah, we did with the Soviet air tree last week or during this week, right? And we are going to do the air American tech tree as well. Don't worry, probably around this week. It's just that it takes a lot of time to do that video because it's a lot of research. It's a lot of just talking with Lazy Lime, which is the moderator that does these images and stuff and help me organize everything. So by the way, thank you, Lazy. And yeah, basically I wanted to do this video because a lot of you actually like this type of video. And since we basically don't have anything else to talk about until the start of the next patch, rotation and dev servers and stuff, let's talk a little bit about what we can see or what can we see in the future of the American ground tech tree. Okay, so we're going to have rank 6 and 7. Obviously, there are stuff that can be added before, but we're going to focus on the top tiers here. Remember that also rank 7 over here, it can be divided on rank 8 as well. We just don't do it just for the sake of it because we don't know what Gaijin is actually planning. But remember that maybe the SEPs, for example, can be a rank 8. So let's start from the left over here. LAV-25, come on, where is it, Gaijin? Same vehicle as we see with the LAV-AD, the same IFV or the same APC, armored personal carrier, but it has a completely different turret with a 25mm Bushmaster cannon. It is the same gun as the Bradleys, and it even has the same ammunition. There are upgrades to improve its armor, but just slightly, for IEDs and stuff like that. And also, in theory, it could carry ATGMs. Not that it needs, it could be like on a BTR-80 kind of situation in a lower VR, but still, it would be cool nonetheless if it has or not the ATGMs. An incredible tank that I really don't understand why it's not added yet to the game. Then we all go for the Bradleys. The Bradleys, we have some things that we can talk about. On the M3A3 Bradley, it should get its titanium roof armor that it lacks in game, so that, and maybe the addition of the Arat 1 ERA side panels, on its side panels and front plate as well, or maybe that be added with the M3A4. The M3A4 would be the same as the A3, but having a 675 horsepower engine, so around 75 horsepower increase, if I'm not mistaken. And it could run anti-mine jammers, thermals, radios were basically all the same as the A3 as well. Maybe adding the Arat 1 ERA for this one instead of this one, but, both of them can carry. At least the A3 should have the proper titanium armor. So yeah, it would be just a little bit more modern version of the Bradley, right? And then we go for this line. The M60s, obviously no changes over here. This, we talk about kind of a controversial kind of subject here. The XM8 and the CCVL. Of course, they are already event vehicles, but since we kind of lack like these light vehicles in the American tech tree, maybe adding kind of a quote-unquote prototype version of these ones, or initial versions, or whatever they want to call it, as the event vehicles, on the sense of removing the top ammunition and adding them to the tech tree with the top ammunition would be a fix for that problem, so it would mean that the American tech tree would have some more light vehicles with that. Okay, that would be very interesting to see. Kind of controversial. I really doubt the Gaijin will ever do this, but it would be cool to see. Then we have the this line over here. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is obviously the rearrangement of the M1s over here. Obviously, I think it's just kind of weird that the M1 IP is actually after the M1A1. I think the BR should fix that, but the M1 Abrams should be folded with the M1 IP, and obviously the M1A1 should be folded with the HC to actually be a little bit easier to get to the top tiers. I think it would help the grind, okay? Then we go for here, the AA systems of rank 6. Obviously, I think it's one of the main tanks over here would be the Bradley LB. It would be just a normal M2A2, if I'm not mistaken, Bradley, but instead of the ATGMs that he had, you would have Stinger launchers. So you would have basically the same missiles as the AD over here, the LAV. So it would be very, very cool. And obviously the M-Shorad as well. It's a multi-purpose vehicle, obviously. It is a striker that has a very modified turret and everything like that. But it has a 30mm cannon, Stingers, but also Hellfire ATGMs, right? Or AGMs or whatever you want to call it, right? So all at the same time. So it's a very, very advanced vehicle. Of course, no armor, very good maneuverability or agility, if you will. But I mean, with a 30mm together with Hellfires that should kill the MBTs, and also the Stingers to help out destroy aircraft and general helicopters. And then obviously on these ATGM launchers, I mean, the Shorad could be added right here. It's the same principle here. Hellfires should be added right here, and Stingers, it should be added right here. But since it's the same vehicle, I mean, I would say that it doesn't matter. Maybe adding it right here just to not be as hard as possible to actually go for the top tier AAs, but being right here would be cool as well. Then we have the M1134 Striker, normal APC, but with those 2 launchers. So very cool. To be honest, I really don't understand why this thing is not added yet. So that would be cool. And then, of course, the event vehicles of rank 6. These ones, obviously, premiums and event vehicles, all the same as we already have. And then we have these 2. The M1A1M is an export M1A1 with a lighter composite armor instead of the advanced composite or even depleted uranium of other M1s. It was used by Iraq, so it could be a thing. It would be very cool to see a different armor, maybe older ammunition or something like that as a premium. And then an event vehicle as the LAV-AT, which is another very interesting tank. It is the same as the LAVs that we see as an APC platform, but with the addition of ITO launchers. So same as in the M901. So it would be an LAV, very mobile, but with the ATGM of the 901 over here. So very, very cool as well. And then we go for top tier, rank 7. So STVL over here, nothing crazy. Then the addition of the M10 Booker, right? Which is basically an armored fighting vehicle. It is kind of a light tank, It's technically considered by some in the US military to be a light tank, but just because the Abrams is very, very heavy, right? The idea is that it has around 40 tons, so it's still pretty heavy, to be honest, but it is lighter than other MBTs. It has the 105mm M35 cannon, so it is not the same as the older cannons. It is a lot lighter and with better materials, so should have different feeling in the game, in the ammunition and stuff. And yeah, basically it would be just a very different tank that it's being starting to be produced right now, right? It would be very, very cool. And then we go for the main MBT lines. Of course, we have the M1A1HC over here, the normal A1 as well, the normal A2 from the 80s. Then we have the SEP, and then obviously the 3 SEPs that we can receive in the future. The SEPv4 would be basically the same as the A2, but with remote controlled guns as a standard. Color displays for the crew, improved interfaces, a new operating system, just overall better, avionics, if you will, if you are an airman. It's not avionics, but you understand what I mean, right? But the major thing is that it has basically new thermals, and yeah, the controlled guns. That would be the difference. The main thing would be that you can have another SEP to actually respawn. And then we go for the big changes over here. The SEPv3. The SEPv3 had more armor to the turrets, so that's cool. The ARAT ERA, so very, very interesting as well. The trophy APS, the same as on the Merkava 4M. And many other upgrades like anti-IEDs, armors, plating under the tank. Other like power systems like a new APU and stuff. So stuff that are not really fillable in the game. But having the trophy together with having better ERA and better armor in general would mean that it could face the most modern tanks from other nations. And the SEPv4, it's even like it's basically the same as that, but even more. So it has a laser warning system, third generation thermals, directional smoke launchers, AMP rounds. So instead of using HE, heat, canister, etc., it has this only one round that can do basically everything. And of course, it has the AP rounds. And of course, also, we can receive for these later models newer versions of the M829er, so the A3, A4, if it's needed for balancing, right? I don't think at first it would be needed, but eventually maybe, right? And then, of course, we go for the AAs, the normal AAs that we have here. But then we have the HEMT or the HEMTT series, basically the normal Army utility truck, but it has the Phalanx series attached to it. So it is basically a Navy series or a base series. So it has a better version of the Vulcan cannon with a longer barrel, so more range and also more precise. And also, it can be fired for longer periods of times, right? So it has also a 360-degree radar. Maybe it will not kill any aircraft that flies, on the air or aircraft in general. But it would definitely be a deadly weapon at 2.5 kilometers. And maybe something like this could literally know where every single bomb and missile is in the air, making it very viable as a protect weapon against this type of missiles and weapons, right? It will probably not be as good as the Panzer, but it should defend the tanks very well. So very, very cool. Then obviously the normal striker over here. And then we go for the last two ones. Of course, the M1A1 AIM is already here. And then the M60 MBT and the Merkava Mark 3D. But then we have two additional ones that we added here. We have first the M1A1D, which is basically an M1A1, the normal one, but with depleted uranium armor, and also second-gen thermals, basically bringing the M1A1 to the M1A2 kind of levels of operations, right? And then obviously the last one is a premium or something like that for a possible rank 8. We would have the M1A1SA. So basically the same as the AIM over here, but with just more modern commander thermals, and also second-gen thermals, and everything else would be basically the same, and the addition of more armor as well. So more armor, better thermals, and of course the fixes that we need on the AIM to actually have the proper commander view that it's just kind of bugged right now. So that would help this tank as well. And I think it's for the Moroccan, I think it's called Army. But it's pretty similar to the Australian spec of it. It just has more modern thermals and more armor for the original one. So it would be very, very cool to see that. And basically this is it, guys. A very interesting tech tree. Of course, there isn't much of a difference between what we have and what we don't have yet. Just better versions of vehicles normally from what we have. And some interesting ones that I don't understand why we don't have it yet, like the LAV and maybe the Booker. The Shorad is one that would be very, very interesting and everybody would love to see it. So hopefully they add it. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, if we missed anything. And let me know in the comments what tech tree do you want to see next, During this week, as I said, we are going to do the American Air tech tree, okay? And we should do shortly afterward that, maybe, or I don't know yet, the Russian or Soviet ground forces tech tree as well, okay? I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and bye, guys. See you.